You're listening to 90.9 FM WIRQ, Irondequoit's home for new music and great classics. Happy Wednesday, March 11th, 2015. Another edition of Cuse in the Morning, radio show and the podcast here. Yeah. So, it has been a very interesting couple of days. Really, actually, a very interesting 24 hours, so to speak. It has been... Yesterday was day one of the 3-day free agency period in the NFL, which is always a fun time. Which is honestly this offseason is probably one of the most interesting I've ever seen in my lifetime, because there's been so many trades and so many pickups, big pickups. We'll talk about the free agency winners and the free agency losers as well today, and we're also going to talk about a little bit some baseball and many other sports. Like college basketball, Selection Sunday is this Sunday. The brackets will be officially out, and I will have mine out by Monday, the 16th. So I will have that filled out. So next time you see me on camera or hear me, we'll talk about sports, really. I'll be having a bracket, and I'll have the Final Four ready to be written down and officialized, I guess. I already picked Duke as my winner, so that's a little spoiler. But I'll tell you who Duke's gonna beat. So anyways, NFL free agency period. We're now in day 2 of 3-day period. Day 1 was a fiasco. And the reason why I say a fiasco is because unlikely trades happened that I did not expect to happen, nor did anyone else who follows football expect it to happen. Really. One thing I can say as the losers of free agency so far would be the Philadelphia Eagles, because I don't know what's in the mind of Chip Kelly, the coach of the Eagles, and Eagles fans everywhere are just shaking their heads. Another loser of the free agency period, more or less not their fault, is the San Francisco 49ers. Patrick Willis, their star linebacker, retired yesterday after a decorated career. Frank Gore, their all-time running back, leading rusher in franchise history, has left San Francisco and is now signed with the Indianapolis Colts. And now there is trade rumors for Colin Kaepernick, but apparently rumors are saying that he is staying. And the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles are a mess at the moment, but they have many months to recover. Plus, you have the NFL draft. Some winners of the free agency period, Buffalo Bills, and as well as for Buffalo, picking up LaShawn McCoy, which was all over the news, sports-wise, the past week, and as well as the Seattle Seahawks, who yesterday surprised the world and traded center Max Unger in a first-round draft pick, which is the 31st out of the 32nd pick of the draft because they were in the Super Bowl. Max Unger in the first-round draft pick for all-time 3 Pro Bowler, tight end Jimmy Graham, and a 4th-round pick in the draft. Jimmy Graham, probably one of the best tight ends in the league today, and is now in Seattle. And now that everyone's saying, can Seattle be stopped this season because Marshawn Lynch is back, who also re-signed with Seattle for a 2-year deal. And now Jimmy Graham's now in the mix. So now you have more outlets for Russell Wilson. You have obviously Lynch you can hand off to, and also if you're under pressure, you have Jimmy Graham you can throw to, and especially as a red zone threat. So, especially with the speed of Russell Wilson and the awareness he has, I have a feeling Seattle is going to be a very, very, very tough team to stop this year. And I emphasize very because I believe now they have their whole offense practically complete because they have decent receivers in Jermaine Kearse and Doug Baldwin, and now they have Jimmy Graham in the mix. A red zone threat is now, they hands down are going to be one of the best teams in the NFC. Again, maybe a 3rd time in the Super Bowl, which I'd like to see, but you never know. Also, the headlines. Darrelle Revis, he spent 1 season in New England, won the Super Bowl, and now he's going back to the Jets. Many people are saying what Revis wants is what Revis gets, and he is in that matter. He left New England, and now he's with the Jets. back with the Jets, and he said he was back home and stuff like that, but which makes me scratch my head because you're going to an organization that you just won a Super Bowl with, and now you're leaving them to go with an organization that you've been with for years and you haven't really done anything with. I don't know. Maybe something else is going on that we don't know about. I don't know what was going on through his mind. Maybe it was just more money. I don't know. But Darrelle Revis is back with the Jets. Jets fans can buy their jerseys again or bring back the Darrelle Revis jerseys. But, yeah. That's what's going on with one of the green teams in the NFL. The other green team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I call the losers of the free agency because Chip Kelly, I believe, has lost his mind, and I emphasize that a lot. You trade away LaShawn McCoy for a linebacker you don't need, and also you get rid of Nick Foles, who is a great quarterback, trade him to St. Louis to get Sam Bradford, who was out for the entire season, didn't really play, and has been a C-plus quarterback. I'll give him that. Now you're talking about having him start over Mark Sanchez, which is everyone's shaking their head. You lose Jeremy Maclin, one of the star receivers, who Maclin said he was planning on re-signing with the Eagles. Ends up going to Kansas City, back to his old coach Andy Reid. And I'm shaking my head. What did Chip Kelly do to push all these players away? And now also Frank Gore was going to sign with the Eagles. You got a replacement for LaShawn McCoy, but then he backs out of the contract for some reason and now signs with Indianapolis. Something's going on in Philly that the players who are looking to sign or re-sign just don't like. LaShawn McCoy gets traded. Jimmy Maclin doesn't want to resign. And now you have Frank Gore doesn't want to sign with Philly, who is about to sign the contract, and then he goes to Indianapolis instead. Big, I guess, I don't know. Big mistake Chip Kelly has made for the Eagles. And if I were an Eagles fan, I would be wanting Chip Kelly's head on a fork, a silver platter, because he has done everything what not to do in maybe a week as a head coach. So, I mean, I don't know what's going on through the Eagles' head. Maybe I've been seeing a lot of puns saying that he's trying to bring the Oregon Ducks, the college team, into Philly, because he's bringing all these young players in that aren't as good as the ones he had. So it'll be a very interesting season. Also, the other winners of the free agency, in my opinion, would be the Jacksonville Jaguars, who, yes, they don't have a quarterback, but they did pick up Julius Thomas from Denver, another star tight end, and they also are getting more players back from injury, much like former Seattle Seahawk Chris Clemens and many other defensive linemen. But also, they need to figure out a quarterback situation. If I were the Jacksonville Jaguars, talk to Chip Kelly and maybe he'd get Mark Sanchez, because he's looking to trade away everybody. But another quarterback news. Trying to think. Houston Texans, also another loser in the free agency. They lose Andre Johnson, their star receiver, and they signed Brian Hoyer. And I call that a losing situation because Brian Hoyer proved of what he is last season with the Cleveland Browns. He is not a everyday quarterback he's not a franchise quarterback that you need for a team. And Houston signed 3 quarterbacks in a week. They signed Hoyer and 2 other quarterbacks for backup. I don't know what Houston's doing. Houston has 4 or 5 quarterbacks now, and I don't believe Brian Hoyer in a way deserves the second chance, because he had a second chance and he didn't, because he was injured 2 seasons ago, and comes back this coming season, starts all games, and he had it for Cleveland for the playoff run. He had you believing for a little bit, and then he blows it at the end, and now Cleveland's out of a playoff spot. It was out of a playoff spot, and they didn't make it. So I believe Brian Hoyer had a second chance, and I don't think he'll do well with Houston. Other quarterback news, a lot of retiring in quarterbacks, young quarterbacks. For example, Jake Locker retiring at age 27. I believe he was 27 years old. He says he was calling it a career, which many people are saying it wasn't. He played for the NFL for 4 seasons, was the number 8 overall pick in the NFL draft in 2011 by the Tennessee Titans. Had a career full of injuries. I quote that. Career full of injuries, and now he's saying he doesn't have the passion to do anymore, which in a way is just like, okay. At the same time, you didn't really have a career because you've been injured the entire time. But hey, that is what it is. So I guess a lot has been happening. I know a lot has been happening in free agency, and I had to talk about it right off the bat because a lot was happening and a lot I wanted to talk about, and I just wanted to share my opinion on how it was. And as a Seattle fan, I don't know. I'm very happy because we have Jimmy Graham. But also, if anyone hasn't heard, the Ndamukong Suh contract negotiations are still continuing. Suh has been offered by the Miami Dolphins. I believe it was a $116 million contract with a $60 million guarantee bonus, meaning he would be one of the highest paid NFL players, the highest paid defensive player in NFL history, which is crazy. And what I'm seeing now is that the contracts that he was offered are not legal, are not cap legal. They're completely over the cap, and I don't know. He does not deserve a $116 million contract with a $60 million bonus guarantee. I promise you that. Does he deserve a better team? He does. I mean, he's had a decent career with the Detroit Lions. They've obviously seen that he's not re-signing. He's a free agent now. But $116 million for $60 million and a $60 million bonus for what, 3-4 years? Not worth it. Not worth it. But yeah, I guess that's really all that's been happening so far. That's only day one. There's still today and there's still tomorrow of what they call a free agency period. So there's still a lot more you can see. And there's going to be a lot more probably happening today and a lot more happening tomorrow. So for those of you who are rock hard NFL fans, stay tuned because there's going to be a lot more coming up. So I'm going to take a break from NFL now, and I'm going to move on to what I mentioned earlier in the show, the March Madness college basketball. March 15th, Selection Sunday. Every team will be the teams will be selected into the bracket, and the brackets will be out later that day. I won't fill it out until Monday, and I won't expect to probably have a show probably till Wednesday, maybe Wednesday or Monday. It just depends on when I have the bracket filled out, and I will have the Final Four blank, and I will fill it out on the show, and I already told you that Duke is my pick to win it. So, if Duke does win it, I'm pretty good. But I will explain to you why, and I will also show you who Duke's going to beat in the Final Four. So that I'm looking forward to that, and I can't wait for that. So I will be definitely watching Selection Sunday and seeing who gets picked, and especially the underrated colleges, just to see, especially like a few years ago, the VCU, who was going to be the VCU of this year, who's going to make a major upset and make it up, maybe into the Sweet 16, which would be nice. But yeah, I'm excited for the bracket, for that to come out. And that's really all I'm going to touch on college basketball for a little bit. Moving on to baseball. Finally a spring sport. Spring training is officially underway. It's about a week in now. And hey, baseball's coming back. We're less than a month away from opening day, which is hard to believe, and it's getting warmer out. It's in the mid-40s right now, and I really hope it stays that way and the snow melts. I saw grass today, and I'm like, whoa, grass still exists? The grass is still a thing? But baseball is coming back. New York-wise, the really only thing I could muster up and that really deserves to be talked about is the New York Mets. Matt Harvey returned to the mound last week and performed in 3 innings. He looked like he didn't miss a beat. And that's a really good sign for the New York Mets, meaning their ace pitcher, an all-star pitcher, is coming back from Tommy John surgery and now is still back to the way he was. So great news for New York Mets fans, including me, but a great news in general for the New York Mets team because they were afraid, if that Tommy John surgery would affect him like it has in many pitchers in the past. So hopefully New York can make a good run, and that's really all I have to say for baseball. It's been a really NFL-driven show today because of the free agency, but I will also read you 2 scores in NHL. Moving on to hockey. The Rangers beat the Islanders, I believe, for the first time this season. It was 2-1. Rangers scored, I think, the game-winning goal, like the last minute or two left in the game. And Lightning beat the Canadiens 1-0 in overtime. NHL playoffs are coming up. They will start in April. And right when baseball season starts, NHL season begins. NHL season ends and heads into the postseason. So, the playoff spots are almost solidified. There's still a few more weeks left. And both the Rangers and the Islanders are in. And I believe the Devils are in as well. Obviously, the Sabres are not because they've only had 16 or 17 wins this season. So that's really all for hockey because many of the winter sports are ending and coming into a wrap-up. And really, the especially when you see the season, like even in NBA, where teams you can tell who's in and who's not already, and there's not really a lot to talk about until the postseason happens, and then you see who's truly in and truly out. So, again, winter sports are wrapping up. March Madness is beginning. NFL free agency has left the dock and is completely underway. And I will be right back. You're listening to 90.9 FM WIRQ for Cuse in the morning. Here's Avenged Sevenfold with Hail the King on 90.9 FM WIRQ. Be right back. You're listening to 90.9 FM WIRQ, Irondequoit's home for new music and great classics. That was Hail the King by Avenged Sevenfold, and welcome back to Cuse in the morning. Happy Wednesday. It is 10:06, March 11th, 2015. Don't know the seconds. I'm not that good at time. But hey, I was also, during the break, besides jamming along to that song, I was looking at other free agency highlights, and a couple I forgot to mention, and I'm going to mention them now. Torrey Smith, a wide receiver of the Baltimore Ravens, who won the Super Bowl with Baltimore a couple of years back, signed with the San Francisco 49ers, and now trying to get San Francisco, I guess, back up to speed with receiver-wise, as they have Michael Crabtree, and that's really it. And they have Vernon Davis, but what has he done in the past couple of seasons? Nothing. What has the Niners done in the last season? Nothing. They haven't really done a lot. But that's a team that needs to be rebuilt, especially with Jim Harbaugh leaving. Other news: Super Bowl MVP from not this previous season, but when Seattle won the Super Bowl, Malcolm Smith is now an Oakland Raider, and Oakland's been signing a lot of. I guess if I were to rate them like 75 overall people, like a C players, which are better than the players they have now. They also got a new running back from Washington, where I forgot his name. But also the whole Revis thing I talked about and how he's with the Jets. He's back with the Jets. I also read a article how you were saying that he's back home with the Jets, which really, I don't know. A lot of people are calling him really dumb for doing that. And I don't know. I'm not really surprised because if it's a more money deal, then he got a Super Bowl ring. He got what he wanted. He wanted to win the Super Bowl, and he got it. But now he's with New York, and I wonder if I don't know. But other news with the Jets, like I was talking about Darrelle Revis, they released Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin's now a free agent, and now they are trading for Brandon Marshall from the Chicago Bears. So getting rid of Harvin to get Marshall, which is my idea, is a very good idea. But New York has an issue. Still, they have a quarterback issue. Geno Smith is not the franchise guy, and the new head coaching and new general manager positions in the New York Jets have been filled. Why am I stuttering? Anyways, they need a quarterback. Bad. Because Geno Smith is not the guy. And I can guarantee you that he is not the guy. And teams who need quarterbacks. Jacksonville needs a quarterback. They have receivers now. They have people they can throw to. They just need a quarterback. They also need a running back because Maurice Jones-Drew retired. Yeah, forgot about that. As well as New York. The Jets need a quarterback. And without that, you can't really... Brandon Marshall's useless. So, if I were the Jets, if I were the Jets management, I'd be looking for a quarterback now. Because, especially with this whole free agent thing happening, this whole fiasco, especially with a lot of quarterback changes, like the big one, with the Eagles and the Rams. Nick Foles is on the Rams, which Rams is completely won that trade. And now Eagles have Sam Bradford, which I don't know. I don't think. And they said he's going to start. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to play the entire season because he's going to get injured, in my opinion. And the Rams will thrive because they have Nick Foles now, who's a great quarterback. And I don't know, again, what's going on in Philadelphia's head. But there's a lot of shoes that need to be filled for teams like the Jets and as well as Jaguars and many other teams along the way. But trying to wrap up here, a little recap. Talked about NFL free agency. Day 2 is today, and the final 3 days, it ends tomorrow. Talked about March Madness. Selection Sunday is March 15th. Tune in on ESPN to watch that. And I believe Monday I will have a show, and I will have the bracket in my hand, filled out, except the Final Four, and I will fill it out with you guys here. As for those who are watching the podcast, I guess really the bracket will be filled out by the time you watch it on Monday. But again, if you are watching this on the podcast, leave a comment below who you think is going to win. Because I really am curious in who you think is going to win it all. You think Kentucky is going to go all the way through and have a completely perfect season? Or do you think it's going to be someone else? Like me, I think Duke's going to be the team. So, hey, I'm going to wrap up here. You're listening to Cuse in the Morning on 90.9 FM WIRQ. Another episode is in the books. So until then, I will see you and you will hear me next time on Monday. See you later.